Hi, how about a machine starts writing a song for a Bollywood movie? I know it looks futuristic, but the computer technology has reached to a level possible in next few years. It is really going to be possible. How we do that? There's something called deep learning, and the IT industry has already concluded that 2017 is going to be the year of deep learning, and subsequent years are really going to change the IT industry because of the artificial intelligence and deep learning. So, what is deep learning is all about? The simplest way to explain deep learning is it's a magic. I believe that's the only word that can capture what exactly a deep learning is all about. I started following deep learning somewhere in November 2015 when Google released its TensorFlow library, and I started collecting a lot of information about what deep learning is all about, what are the different ways, different models, frameworks that is available, so on and so forth. And I was pretty much on a fence, not really getting deep dive into what deep learning is all about. Then I read this article from Andrej Karpathy regarding recurrent neural network, and that's when I decided to get my hands dirty in deep learning. I strongly believe that unless and until you get your hands dirty, try something yourself out, it's not going to be really helpful just by learning certain things and be just have an academic view about it. So obviously I wanted to try something out, and then the obvious question comes in is which project I should really try out. And the project that I was looking out is basically looking for is essentially something different, something unique, because what I thought, if I tried the same thing, it will just give me an idea about how the entire program works. But essentially, I might get biased by the solutions that are already available, or I may not encounter the new problems which nobody has actually came across. So that's the reason I decided to do it something different. So I picked up Hindi songs as my project. Obviously, a couple of reasons. Hindi, no one has tried anything in deep learning on Hindi language, so that was obvious choice for me. Second thing, being Unicode language, it always has its own set of challenges. So I thought, why not try this something different? And why songs? Why not in Hindi literature? Because songs always has it doesn't really follow a normal noun verb pattern when it comes to deep learning or when it comes to poetry. And that's the reason I decided to go ahead with a project. Can machine write Hindi songs? That's a summary of what really I decided to go ahead with. So Hindi songs, obviously, song has its own peculiar problem. For example, if I write a sentence in song like "Mera naam Umesh hai," and the same sentence can be written in multiple ways for a song, like "Mera naam Umesh hai," "Naam hai mera Umesh," "Umesh mera naam hai," and all these variations are valid as far as the song goes. And that's the reason I decided to select Hindi songs as my project. Now, after selecting the song, the most obvious next step is to identify a data. For deep learning, you need a big volume of data, and not only the quantity is important, but also the quality of data is also equally important. For example, word zindagi can be written in multiple ways in Hindi. Now, if you have very few examples of variations, how to write word zindagi differently, machine won't be able to really understand when to use or how to use a particular word, because it really cannot understand that both the ways that you write zindagi it essentially means the same thing. I'll give you one more example where you have the word abodana, and this is the only song that at least I have heard where the word abodana is, and obviously in this case it becomes very difficult for machine to really use that one word and find out where else it can use that particular word. So having one song, one line with one word is definitely not going to help. In Hindi songs, if you look at the different Bollywood movies, You can find songs written in Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, and sometimes Awadhi or any other language as well. Or multiple languages are getting mixed into one song, and that becomes difficult for machine to learn and understand unless you have a good amount of data that can feed different variations from the surrounding languages, and it can really make use of it. I'll give you one example from movie Ganga Jamuna, the song Nain Lad Gayi Hai. This song is written in Awadhi, and if you find a lot of words are not commonly used in Hindi. Awadhi is maybe very close to Hindi, but obviously it is not Hindi. That means if you decide to include this particular song in your training data set, it's not going to help. It is just going to add a lot of noise in the training data set. So after finalizing the data, the next obvious step is to find out framework. There are a lot of frameworks available, TensorFlow from Google, Cafe, Torch, Keras, and so many libraries are available. I decided to go ahead with the Torch primarily because during the testing, I found out that Torch is a bit faster as compared to TensorFlow when you're trying to run on CPU based machine versus GPU based machine, and that's when I decided to actually go ahead with Torch. But that's my personal choice. So now you have data, you have framework decided. The next step is to really find out do you have access to a GPU based hardware? If you have, go ahead and use it because that is the most important step in this journey. You can still get the results with a CPU based machine or whether you do not have access to GPU. But obviously it's painfully slow, it's damn slow. You can really achieve the results in much shorter period if you have access to GPU. Amazon has recently released P2 as with the GPU instance. They do have deep learning AMIs as well with practically every single library that you can think of. So if you just go ahead and use P2 instance along with the deep learning AMI, you are pretty much good to go. But even your machines, possibly either your desktop or laptops with video cards, should be able to help in actually getting something done as far as the deep learning is concerned. So you don't really need a very huge data center to really set this up. You can really get it done at home by doing this, and that's what I actually did. Obviously, I was pretty much running it on my old faithful Mac, and it doesn't have any GPU, so I was running partly on the CPU based Mac. And then once I know or I reached to a particular point where I am comfortable about the results and I really wanted to run multiple iterations, I used to basically transfer it to the Amazon P2 instance to just do some checks before finalizing the model. And here, obviously, you have to have a lot of patience. It takes time. There are multiple hyperparameters that you can play around with, but each one has an impact on the model and the output. And unless and until you start documenting very clearly when you started, what was your data, whether you were running on CPU or GPU, how many iterations that you started with, how much was the training dataset size versus the validation dataset size or the test dataset size or the parameters like your learning rate and the decay in the learning rate and so on and so forth. Unless and until you start documenting every single thing, it's going to be difficult for you to track what change and what results that you are getting or what is the impact of tuning one or other parameter on the output. So make sure that you keep a log of everything that you do. That's what I did after obviously learning in a hard way, and I started documenting. Here the most important part is not the program, but the most important part is the data. So if you have a good quality data, a huge amount of data, getting a meaningful outcome using deep learning is very much possible. So where am I with this project? This project essentially it's not done. I now at least managed to get some meaningful poetry out of this program. The first one that I generated on January 30th, which I posted on Twitter as well. This is absolutely, I would not call it as the end of the story. Now at least I know what kind of data quality and the quantity is required to get the meaningful out of it from deep learning using specifically recurrent neural network. What I tried was based on the data that I got from geetmanjusha.com. It was around 2 MB worth of data, final data after a lot of cleansing and removing a lot of noise from it and making a quality set of data. So obviously more the data that I have or more the data I can get is definitely I can get more meaningful and better results out of it. So that's my next step to really find out what else can be done to really improve the results from this particular model. And I'll continue to post video blogs on this topic. Stay tuned, and as I learn more, obviously I'll share more. So thanks. This is Umesh on whether machine can write Hindi songs using deep learning technique, recurrent neural network. Thanks again.